Garth Davis, Lion is your feature film directing debut. Not your directing debut by any means, but your feature film debut. What about this story inspired you to turn it into a film?
Well, first of all, it was such a miracle of a story, and if it was a true story, I just found even more of a miracle. But it also had such epic scope. I mean, it was such an incredible journey to follow this little boy from India all the way to Australia, and then 25 years later, see him return home. I mean, it had such scope. But also, there was a deep emotionality to the story, which I found incredibly moving. And so, as a filmmaker, it had everything to explore, and it really excited me.
So take us through the process of adapting this memoir to the screen, working with the writer, Luke Davies, in bringing it to the screen and making it cinematic.
Well, I mean, I was involved quite early on before the book came out. And one of the things that happened was I went with 60 Minutes Australia to India when the adopted mother met the birth mother. And as part of my research into starting this film. And I was just very quickly thrust into their lives and into a relationship with them very early on. And that was to make sure that I spent time with the real people and retrace Saru's steps as best I could, because that's when you get an emotional truth to the story. When the book came out, the book kind of structured his story in a way that was very helpful to us in maybe looking at how we structured the film. But I think the key to it was spending as much time as possible with the characters and bringing that kind of deeper layer into the story. So yeah, I mean, on the one hand, the story is incredibly compelling and works as a paragraph, but to make it a film, we had to go really deep and build those relationships.
And I'm sure there had to be challenges as well in the fact that you're shooting in India and Australia, spanning the globe, and a lot of it is so very internal as well. A lot of it
right.
is just based on what the character's thinking. So what were some of the challenges that you faced in doing this?
Well, you're right. I mean, I kind of saw the film in two halves. The first half was an external story, the event that changed through life. And then the second half was an internal story, basically how he had that life kind of suppressed and held down. And then we brought the worlds together at the end. So in a very simple way, that's how I kind of saw the film. But really, so in that, it was very exciting to kind of honor that path forward, through the making of the film. And in India, it was incredibly challenging. Obviously, the locations are incredibly complicated to work in, but at the same time, there's a humanity and a vibrancy there that is just wonderful through the camera. And then the great challenge in Australia was to seek out and feel that the kind of mystery of Saru's past and that the kind of the nuances in the character's yearnings, and that was really fun to play with. And also, when Saru starts to feel India come to the surface in a very visceral way, it's not just done through the keystone script moments; it's also done through the texture of the film. Even Lucy's character has a playfulness that's reminiscent of her brother, of his brother. That kind of sense of play and the tactility kind of comes back into his life. And Greg and I, the DOP, we language that we used in Calcutta back into the filmmaking. So there's a lot of directorial engineering that's gone into into the making of the film.
There is a visual beauty to it, and I just spoke with your cinematographer earlier today. Aesthetically, so much of it is internal, like I said earlier, and so much of it is focused on the face of these two actors who play Saru. How do you make that visually interesting?
Well, the only way is to make sure that the characters are in their place of truth at that moment, and you have to really work from the inside out with every single moment, and you have to be aware of where the characters are at that point in the story. So, for instance, I would have a very strong understanding of what I felt this section of the film was trying to expose and and we would discuss all the things that may be going through Saru's mind. Is this an opportunity for him to have a memory of his mother, or is he just thinking about survival? And you kind of make some decisions, and everything comes from that, the performances, and then the camera would be inspired by that idea. So you just have to really go deep into the story and come out from the truth. It's the only way the scenes work.
Right. I wanted to go back to shooting in India because for the first hour of the movie, I think it is, it's in a language that is not in English. Was that a challenge, the language barrier and directing in a different language, or do you speak the language of India?
Look, it's a great challenge, but the story was just so front foot in many ways. Like, it's a powerful, physical story that I knew it could almost work as a silent movie. But we had wonderful translators, and we have to do those people carefully so they understand the nuances and the tone of what you're making. For instance, the translator we used with Sonny was an actor, so that he knew the language of acting. So when we were translating, it was in line with what we're trying to achieve. Look, it's times beautiful things happen there as well. Like, you kind of let go a little bit, and you have to kind of honour the way that they see things, and so you kind of make new discoveries in the process as well.
Speaking of Sonny, I wanted to bring up the cast of the film, but particularly the two actors who play Saru, Sonny and Dev Patel, later on. What made them individually right for the role?
One of those, when you spend time with the real family and you spend time with the story and you stand in those locations, vibe in, you start to imagine what sort of kid could live through that. Little Saru had this incredible strength, streetwise quality, but also he had this spirituality, he had this great instinct. So all of these kind of attributes you hold as a director, and when you're casting, you are subconsciously looking for them. The people you're looking at, boy, Sonny, as soon as he walked into the room, he just held himself in a way that I felt had all that stuff going on. And I don't know, it's a very instinctual thing. It's an artistic thing. And then it becomes a very practical thing. Like, can he actually get through a shoot? Can he actually be in a scene and not be aware of the camera? And all of those attributes start to play. But also, he needed to be someone that wasn't damaged. I mean, a very poor family in many ways. So the kid had to have an innocence and a life, which is very important. You can meet kids in India that have come from troubled pasts and their life has been smothered somewhat. So life had all of these attributes. We got very lucky. And in many ways, Dev Patel is very similar. I mean, he is no doubt a beautiful life and a guide around, which I thought would be fantastic for the adult Saru, because it gave us somewhere to go, when the darkness came to the surface.
Right, and then you surround them with this other great cast members, Nicole Kidman and Rooney Mara and so many others. Working with actors, what is your approach, shall we say?
I love my actors so much. It's the best part. I mean, first of all, I choose actors that are passionate about, really care about what they're making. Otherwise, I don't think I just dial it in. In all of the cases in the film, they were desperate to make the film, and my process really is about not rehearsing scenes, but that they have an emotional memory that they have in the story, or that we dip into the colours or the emotional tapestry of certain areas of the story. Dad did a lot of on a train by himself for a day or two, and he had to sit in, in the economy class and experience what it'd be like to be in the train. He went to had to work for a day in orphanages, work with some of these children. So I put the actors through real life experiences so that when they come to talk about or have to relive some of that stuff in their memory, that
I'm sorry, you were freezing up there. Um, it's a very emotional story as well. Is it difficult to make a film this emotional and not make it maudlin or sentimental, but make it truthful?
it's definitely it's definitely a challenge to balance it all out. So basically the edit was really about trying to ascertain how strenuous it was on the audience, and so that was definitely something we were very conscious of. We had to fine tune in the edit. So yeah, it is a balancing act. I mean, I do love that age to be emotional, and I feel like a lot of movies these days think that being emotional is bad acting, and I know I don't. I see a lot of people in my life that express themselves in the fullest of things. Shame that cinema doesn't embrace emotions on the front foot. So I don't know. I kind of like that our film's brave to do that, but you just have to balance it. You have to be careful, and it has to be from a place of truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So for your work, you've received an Emmy nomination for Top of the Lake. This film has garnered some Oscar buzz ever since it premiered at Toronto. I wonder what that kind of recognition means for you in your career.
Well, it was a big help for me, especially in Hollywood. Done something before, you very rarely get an opportunity or a look in. So I think it just validates you as a director. It validates you having worked with big material, with big actors, and way that's successful. So I think it just validates you. Takes you're less of a risk. Immensely for me, and ironically, that's my opportunities have come from Neil Sherman and Ian Canning, who gave me the opportunity on Top of the Lake as well. So they're the guys that saw something in me and gave me a go. So even be looking at these opportunities as quickly as I did. Opportunity.
Right, and now you've been able to get more opportunities as well. In fact, you've got another movie that you just finished about Mary Magdalene. Is that right?
Yeah, we finished about a week ago. So, off from that one.
Wow, 1 week ago. I look forward to chatting with you about that one as well. Garth, thank you so much, and congratulations on the film. It's really wonderful.
Hey, thanks for your interest.
You're welcome. Have a good day.